Well, we could do it together. Yeah, okay. Oh, come on! Yes, Bucs! We did it! Super Bowl 55. The Buccaneers did it. Welcome, everyone. Episode 27, or as we're calling it, episode 55, if you like the little thing we've done there. We've got the whole gambit back together. I'm Alex, and I'm joined by Kieron, Ian, Tim, Pete, Gary, Phil, Dom, David, Adam, Marianna, and Graeme. We're all going to be taking you through this one. Please remember, go and like this video, hit that thumbs up. It really does help us. Don't forget to subscribe and also press that bell so you are notified every time we upload. Wow, let's just get straight into this, guys. Oh, actually, sorry, before we do, one thing I do just want to quickly talk about is after the game, for those of you who aren't aware, because we are a members group, we did have a very, well, I say brief, I think it was about an hour, about 4 o'clock in the morning after the Bucs sealed that victory. Some of our members went on Zoom. Graeme, do you remember much about that?
All I can say is my wife came down in the morning and woke me up lying on the couch, sent me to my bed, and then came up about 10 minutes later holding all these empty bottles saying, seriously? You didn't drink all that?
Marianna, I've got to say, you seem to be having a good time on that Zoom as well.
Yeah, a similar story to Graeme there. I woke up on the couch several hours later.
About to say, I mean, I didn't get to bed till about 5 o'clock. I think that was the same for everyone. It was a very, very late night here in the UK, but man, was it worth it. So, as I said, let's get straight into this. Phil, I've got to come to you first. You were there in 2003, Super Bowl 37, when the Bucs won their first Super Bowl. They've done it again. Just give us your thoughts, your reflection on the game. How are you feeling?
Well, somebody said to me today, he said, when do you think this is going to sink in? I said, when my credit card bill comes at the end of the month. And I think that's the best way to describe it. 2003 was great, but this one was, to me, was far, far better than that, because we this time last year, we were all reflecting on what a complete disastrous season we've had. Here we are, 12 months later, celebrating a Super Bowl win. My reflections on the game were very much, we totally and utterly dominated them from start to finish. We had, Todd Bowles had a superb game plan for the defence. But as I've been saying all season, my MVP of the season, game, don't really care what it is, Tom Brady. He's brought this winning mentality back to this team. And without him, let's be quite honest, we wouldn't have been there. He has just, he's a quarterback, he's a coach, he's a leader. They all respect him, and it was just so evident on Sunday night. And I was sitting here thinking about next year. I thought, we could do this again, because it's all down to him. But what a great night, and superb team performance by everybody, including special teams. So excellent.
It'll be interesting when we get further onto the show to see what Kieron's grade is for the special teams. Maybe he'll be nice to them this time, but we'll find out later. David, what about you? Give us your initial thoughts and reactions.
I'm still numb. It was just an amazing performance. I think once we got into the Super Bowl, we're really all through the playoffs. We were just a dominant force, weren't we? And leading into the Super Bowl, I was almost just happy that we got there. But, I'm not used to following a winning team. And, the closer we got to the game, the more I actually was an absolute believer that we are going to do it. You look at the team on paper, we clearly had the best offensive line, the best defensive line. We had all the receivers. We had so many guns more than them. We had a better tight end group. Our secondary, we know has developed and shone over the season. And just as the game was starting, I really did believe it. And they just carried it on through the game. It was absolutely believing. We totally dominated them. I've never seen a team. And, the mantra leading up to it for me was defense wins championships. And boy, did that defense play. They were outstanding. And it was just fantastic. And also, it was just so great to share the experience with so many Bucs fans. We couldn't get over there, which was a real gut wrench for me and many of you guys and girls as well, because I know a lot of us would have been over there in normal situation. But just having the ability to share the emotions in that game with everybody was just incredible and made it even better, even sweeter. And well, yeah, I'm on cloud 9 still.
If I said that someone within this current group actually tweeted during a Falcons game they didn't want to see us in the Super Bowl,
who would do such a
who
thing?
would do such a silly thing like that? I mean, it's not like there's one of us on here that says silly things on Twitter, is there? Kieron, what about you? Give us your thoughts.
Let's not be, let's be clear about that. Whoever that was put their hands up.
They did. That's true. Yeah, yeah. Kieron, what about you? What about you? Give us your thoughts.
Okay, just to be clear, that was not me on Twitter. So I mean, I agree with Phil. This was a fairy tale season. I don't want to sound too much like a media darling, but when I was speaking to Jeff Reinbold,
name drop.
I said it was destiny, and it really was destiny. It felt like the stars were aligned. In the 2003 season, we had a season. We'd made the playoffs before. We had the embryonics of a growing, challenging team. This was 7-9 to the Super Bowl. Through New Orleans, through Green Bay, and right over Kansas City. It was absolutely amazing. And I feel best for the players because it's validation on their careers. I feel like they've all got a chip on their shoulder, and justifiably, because they never get the credit they deserve. JPP being the sole Pro Bowler is a joke. Levante David, we can now know as one of the most versatile linebackers in the league. Devin White is only 22, and you look at he led the team in tackles. And Mike Evans, on the stat sheet he wasn't amazing, but that's because the Kansas City Chiefs schemed him out of the game. So for all of those people, they get respect, and it's in the history books, and it can never be taken away. And I'm just so pleased and proud of all of them.
It was incredible as well how, I don't want to use the word easy, but it did look easy for us. That scoreline, 31-9. Yeah, I mean, for a neutral, it certainly probably wasn't the most exciting Super Bowl, but I think that's one of the best games as a Bucs fan I've watched, certainly.
Yeah, I've got a question for the guys then. Was anyone disappointed that it wasn't a closer game? More exciting?
No.
That's fine. That's fine.
No, it was absolutely
I'm okay with that.
We are unanimous in that.
Had all the excitement we needed because we were scoring.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
I mean, Pete, let's just go through those scores quickly. I mean, great touchdowns, weren't they? Gronk as well. He really came into in terms of the passing game. We actually saw him and Brady telepathic.
Oh, definitely. He came alive in when it mattered. We've sort of used him. He did that joke about he's coming here to be a blocker and comes to the Super Bowl and scores 2 touchdowns. Absolutely dominated. But we dominated on, like you say, every position. It was perfect. It was so good to watch. So good to, like you say, see that connection that they've got actually come alive again. But yeah, unreal.
Yeah, I think for like the others, I'm not quite sure it's quite sunk in yet. But I tried to find just a few words just to sum up the game. And the 4 words I wrote down was everyone played their part. And I think that was it, wasn't it? Is that just everyone turned up on the day, played to the best of their abilities, and yeah, 31-9 is what we deserved.
Ian, if I can just stick with that with you for a moment, because something that Bill Belichick said a lot when Brady was at New England was do your job. Do you think Brady brought that element to Tampa?
Well, yes, I think everything he said, everything others have said about his kind of leadership and motivation skills. I think he has brought the best out of everyone. And, as we say many times on this podcast, it's a team game. And that's what he's helped bring out, I think. He's united the players, united the team. Not that they were disjointed, but he's just, it's getting the more out of some of the parts.
No, I was just going to say that sort of 3-man sack was also one of the big key plays for me, as was the Sue sack where he just cleaned him up he was just out in open space. I think Cam Gill was half a step behind him, but that was just awesome. The key to the game was was the defense holding them to 9 points. Say if anybody on a podcast or in an article had predicted you were going to hold Mahomes to 9 points, no touchdowns for the first time ever, his lowest ever QB rating, quite frankly, you'd have been seeing the men in white coats.
A guy won a $3,000 bet at 15-1 that Mahomes wouldn't score a touchdown pass.
Wow.
48 grand.
I salute Todd Bowles because I thought his defensive plan was just perfection. You know, to use the speed of our linebackers. We did a lot more man coverage as well. I mean, Tyreek Hill he didn't have many catches at all. I think their leading receiver was Kelsey of over 50 or 60 yards, and that was it.
Hill had 73 yards, 7 catches.
Oh, right, 73 in the end, was it?
Yeah,
okay.
but a lot of
garbage
those
time.
in mop-up time when the game was already lost.
Yeah. Indeed.
If you look at that, it's only really Kelsey, and he dropped passes early on. Hill did. Hardman, they weren't quite at the game early, but don't put that on them. That was down to us and what we were doing to them.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. You look at any other game where Tyreek Hill caught 7 passes and it's not for 73 yards. It's probably for about 150. We kept them short. We kept, stayed behind them, kept them short. Fantastic job.
I think the whole situation was we rattled them early doors and they just couldn't get over it. And they just didn't. They were so disjointed. They didn't look like the Chiefs team I've ever seen. Kelsey dropping passes, and Hill missed that one when he should have caught it for a touchdown. But they were rattled, totally and utterly rattled.
But
Look at the punter. That
listen to
punter.
Mahomes'
What was
press
that about?
conference after, he just said, we got beaten up, basically. Fair play to the guy. He stood up and said, that's the worst beating I've taken.
Marianna, I'd just like to come to you in terms of key plays also, because I thought Leonard Fournette, and particularly at the end of the game, his experience in playoffs, getting those yards that we need just to seal the game out, they were really important.
Leonard Fournette, as ever, and once again, he's sort of my favourite pickup of this team at the minute. He had personally, and we'll just throw it in there, he would have been my MVP. He ran about 16 times, about 80 odd yards. He caught for another 40 odd, about another 40 odd or 50 yards. So he had like 130 yards combined. And he got that key touchdown as well. So for me, that guy he runs with such power and he takes players with him. And what he's enabled us to do is then have Rojo come in and play against defenders that are already beaten up by, Leonard Fournette's power running. So he's given us like a much better run game overall because he's given us the ability then to have a fresh Rojo who's not having to try and pound the rock all the time, which is not really what Rojo is. He's that speed back. So, Leonard Fournette would have been my MVP in this game, to be honest.
Now, Adam, you've also been a big cheerleader of the running game as well. That 1-2 punch with Fournette and Jones, you must have, I don't know, give me your thoughts on that. Important for us in terms of getting that win?
Pivotal. You just know, I've said it loads and loads of times on the podcast, if you can get those two guys running, they don't know what angle they're coming from. Every time we've rushed more than 24 rushes, we've won. So the statistics say if you establish that run, you're going to win the game. I got a slightly different favourite play. I loved the Winfield play that resulted in that 50-yard flag.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't care, there's a penalty. I literally waited for him to get up off the floor, looked him in the eyes, and went, "That's right." Unbelievable play.
The best taunting penalty I think I've ever. I've never been happy to see us get a penalty, but that one, loved it.
In the Super Bowl, you can't backflip into the end zone and not expect a bit of karma come back around with the shape of this.
I will say fair play to Tyreek Hill because he took it as well. He didn't get up and get into Winfield's face. He did take it.
Battered.
Yeah, he's already done.
When you can't get
as
someone's
well,
pocket,
he was great, wasn't he?
Who's sorry, David?
Ryan Jensen.
Oh,
getting in their face again and drawing the penalties.
Yeah.
A big 15-yard run as well that was really tidy on a big touchdown drive. So, yeah.
I love seeing Brady up for it as well, getting into it.
Yeah.
Telling Rafi, I'm going to get this touchdown.
I tell you what,
and then he threw it to AB right in front of him.
Yeah, you don't very often see Brady smile on the field. He's always very serious. But when Jensen drew that penalty, he had a grin from ear to ear, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I mean, another thing I thought was quite important in terms of a play as well. And I want to give Mahomes credit first on this because, yes, we shut him down, but the way he extended the plays and still managed to get some of those throws off, I thought was just outstanding. He's going to be incredible to watch during his career. But I'm going to go back to Will Goldston, a favourite of ours here at Bucs UK. And Will got through the line at one point and he managed to trip Mahomes up. As Mahomes was falling over, he makes the sidearm throw, which should have been a touchdown. Now, thankfully, it hits his receiver's helmet and bounced off. That was quite late on in the game, wasn't it? But still, a key moment there that they couldn't quite get into the end zone, not just on that occasion, but many occasions as well.
I think
that was almost the best incompletion of all time, to be honest. If he had scored, it didn't matter in the game by that point.
No.
But we were all stood up and applauding Mahomes' skill for
Yeah.
getting that ball down there. It was phenomenal. But again, the defense was all around the receiver. There was a good chance that ball, he would have been hit in the air and maybe not completed anyway.
Ian, you want to come in there?
Look, guys, we cannot leave this any longer. Ryan Suckup. He hit his season-long 52-yard field goal to put us up 31-9 and beyond being touched. So let's not forget Ryan Suckup. But I want to share with you another favourite moment. It wasn't a key play as such, but sometimes a favourite moment can be what a commentator says. So my favourite moment was, well, one of my favourite moments was in the last couple of minutes when Devin White got his interception in the end zone. And the commentator said, in respect of the Chiefs, that's one last indignity.
Yeah.
And didn't that just sum it all up?
Yeah.
One
perfectly.
last indignity.
Now, Jesus said the dagger's in.
Yeah. Yes.
Pulled it out.
Yes, absolutely. Now, during the game, some of our members took part in a Buccaneer video, and this was all thanks to NFL UK. We had a great time, so thank you ever so much. And we thought that if you hadn't seen it, you might like to have a quick look at it. So for the next few moments, sit back, relax, and enjoy looking at our journey, the Bucs UK's journey through the Super Bowl.
It's 3 hours till kick-off. We've got the snacks all sorted out.
We've got the goat. That's the one. Come on, Bucs.
Go Bucs!
Let's go!
Now the Buccaneers ready to leave the locker room.
Come on, one! Yes! Third option, end zone. Spike with the touchdown. There's the fake, there's the pass, and there's the catch. Yes! Come on, Anthony. Come on, Lennon, come on out! Come on, Lennon! Come on, Lennon! Come on, Lennon! Chris, welcome!
Super Bowl 55, absolutely amazing. Go Bucs!
A game for the ages. People only remember the winners, and we've gone down in history as the winners.
All those years of hurt, and we've bloody done it.
I've never felt sweeter than popping
Anyone else got a favourite moment or play?
I think it's still just for me. It's Devin White that catch at the that interception. Yeah, and that just sealed the game. At that moment, we all had that moment throughout the game where we thought the Chiefs going to get back into this somehow because we're so used to the Bucs being that way that they slip up at some point. And even towards the end of the game, you still felt like there was going to be that one moment, and then him getting the interception just put it to bed, and you just thought, nah, that's it. So it's definitely over now.
This was my secret prosecco if it all started going wrong, but it didn't go wrong. I didn't have to open the bottle. So it was...
I tell you what, I do just want to go back to what Tim said at the beginning of this segment, where he said about he couldn't highlight one moment. I completely agree with what you're saying there, Tim. But for me, one thing that does stand out in my mind, and I think it was in the first quarter, was when JPP batted down a Mahomes pass, because from that moment on, we just looked in complete control. And I think that really helped settle our defense. And for me, I mean, I wanted to say very early on, and David, Kieron, Phil, Adam, and Pete can back me on this, because I went onto the WhatsApp group and said, can I say it? Referring to, I want to say that we win the game in the second, we were going to win in the second quarter. I was told no, but I really felt we set that tone so early on and we were so comfortable throughout.
Can't jinx it. Can't jinx it that early.
The tone was set by that front four and the constant pressure, not just the starting front four. It's been referred to Golston. You even saw Steve McClendon 20 yards in the backfield, chasing him about,
definitely.
There was a police report that Mahomes was seen being chased by Sue and Lavonte David down Dale Mabry in the third quarter.
But the thing is, we didn't even have to rush with extra linebackers. The front four were doing all the damage on their own.
Five blitzes all game. That's all it was. And in talking of it being jinxed, it was jinxed from the coin toss. The coin toss winner has now lost 7 Super Bowls in a row.
Whoa. There we go. I mean, but surely, because I mean, we were safe from the get-go, because Brady has won. I think it's his last 5 Super Bowls wearing white. That's all we know. That's all we need to know. Dom, you've been rather quiet during this section.
Sorry.
Any key moments or favourite moments for you?
My favourite play was the same as one of Gary's, which is when Sue hit Mahomes from his blind side, and he saw Cam Gill coming. Honestly, I must have watched it about 50 or 60 times. I can't stop rewinding it. And he sees Gill coming, and you could see he's just about to do one of his little side steps. And then bang, he almost broke him in 2. So much so, and he's good at protecting the ball. He almost dropped the ball. He did drop it, then managed to get it. I love it. I loved it. Break him in. Sorry, he break him in 2.
I mean, in fairness, the biggest play when Chiefs had the ball was the screen.
he certainly made it to the end zone before the Chiefs did, didn't he?
He was down by contact at the 2.
He slid under, didn't he? That was
it was down by contact by the 2, actually.
By the 10.
Now, we've already briefly mentioned about Bucs MVPs, but let's go into a bit more detail now about this, lady and gentleman. Ian, I want to talk to you first. The defense, and you touched on the defense already in the last part of the show. Something else that Tony Romo also said is he felt that the MVP trophy should be split between the defense. So how do you pick one player for this MVP? If you can, how do you do it?
Well, I think in terms of defense that you mentioned, you just can't name a single player, can you? I mean, even players we haven't even touched on yet, Vita Vea and Dominican Sue, just played so well in terms of that interior line. So I refuse to be drawn on an MVP in terms of the defense, because it's just not possible.
What if I said if you don't pick one, you're off the show?
Well, I'll use that to switch to the opposite side of the ball and talk about the offense. I mean, my MVP was so nearly Joe Haig, but obviously he dropped it, which was a bit of a shame. But it's been mentioned before, MVP for me, avoiding the kind of very obvious, it would be Leonard Fournette. He has really turned up in the playoffs, big style, and particularly in the Super Bowl. Obviously, he ran for 89 yards. But I thought it was an absolute key touchdown he got, which took us to 28-9 up, which was the 27-yard run. Fabulous block from Ali Marpet as part of that. but also, you know, Fournette has been criticised in the past for his catching ability, and we all know how important to Brady a pass catching running back is, and he caught 4 catches, I think, for 46 yards. So, you know, it was, you know, someone that really upped his game for the playoffs, and in particular for the Super Bowl. So Leonard Fournette for me.
I think he's been carrying that massive chip on his shoulder from the Jags letting him go. That was just a chip that he's come into us and gone, yeah, I'm gonna show them what they're missing out on and what other teams have missed out on by not stealing me.
Did anyone see, if anyone was on Twitter, did anyone see the dig that he did have at the Jaguars for releasing him? So I think you're right, Pete. I think there was certainly something going there. Adam, give us your MVP for the game, if you can pick one.
Can I pick Todd Bowles? Because that guy,
absolutely,
absolute master.
Todd Bowles, salute you. That was amazing.
Oh, if you can't pick an individual defensive player, pick the guy who schemed it all up. I tell you,
100%.
For every other team who struggled to play against Kansas City this year, and you know, Tyreek Hill running riot on everyone, we contained every single one of their weapons. So, masterful plan.
And while you're on Todd Bowles, I think you need to give Byron Leftwich similar recognition.
Yes.
They jointly would be my MVP. And again, I think the symptomatic of the Bucs and the way they're viewed by the league and the press. No respect. One interview by Bowles. No one wants to speak to Leftwich for a head coaching job. Very quickly indulge me. There's a quick quote from a Yahoo columnist, Shalise Young, talking about the post-game interviews. One of the biggest nights of Byron Leftwich's life, he couldn't even get basic respect. At the start of his post-game Zoom media availability, the NFL PR person moderating called him Brian, not Byron. Leftwich corrected him and there was no apology. Then the first reporter to ask a question asked about the defense, apparently thinking that Leftwich was Todd Bowles. Leftwich stared off to the side as he processed his being asked what his game plan was for slowing down Mahomes. He laughed and said, "I had nothing to do with that. That was Todd." And again, no apology.
Wow,
that's outrageous.
No respect.
But that's been the story of the Buccaneers season, hasn't it? We have been underestimated, labelled the underdogs, and everyone on this team, coaching staff, players, have really proved everyone wrong.
Even now, there's league power rankings being published the day after the Super Bowl, and the Bucs are 5th.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
Long may continue.
Just say one thing here. One thing was on Good Morning Football after the day after the event. One of the presenters of the program said something that somebody took for us as a club and everybody. He said, one thing about the Buccaneers is so much fun, so approachable. He said, and he just said, and he looked at the camera and said, "My message to the Buccaneers, just please stay the way you are. Stay the club that you are, the friendly, approachable, easygoing club that you've always been." And to me, I thought, well, that just sums them up to a T.
Absolutely. I mean, look at the discussions that many of us members have had with various people at the Bucs on social media, via emails, the way they help us out. Phil, great point. Absolutely. Tim, you wanted to make a point as well, did you?
Yeah, basically, I just want to say the lack of respect. Just keep it going. You fly under the radar. Yeah. People don't respect you. As a sportsman of limited capabilities and so on, the best way to motivate yourself is not be respected by any of the opposition.
Yeah, and Alex, if I can
just keep that going next season as well, because you see the tweet off Mahomes' mother and so on. There is no respect for anything that the Bucs did on Sunday from the Kansas City team. Use that as motivation going next year.
And not just the cheat. I mean, the Saints players have been very salty. I don't know if anyone's keeping seeing that. But it's wonderful, but no respect at all. Ian, yes, you wanted to come in and say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something. I mean, if we're going to use MVP to stand for most valuable person, and quite rightly we mentioned Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich, we should not forget Bruce Arians.
Of course.
He's pulled it all together. And, we've talked an awful lot about, rightfully talked an awful lot about Tom Brady, but actually the Arians-Brady relationship is what has won us this Super Bowl, not just one person in isolation.
Very fair point there, Ian. Absolutely, Gary. I'd like to come to you as well, if I may. Have you got an MVP or anyone that's player-wise or personnel-wise that you thought really made a difference?
Well, I think Adam stole my thunder a little bit on the Winfield. I'd make him MVP just for that. But
yes,
I really agree with what the other guys have been saying. How on earth do you single anybody out? I mean, I'd have given MVP to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization, from the Glazers downwards, right down to the tea lady. I know there isn't a tea lady this year. But it was just a monumental. This is the greatest team sport there is, and this was a great team win. And quite frankly, singling out one person, really disrespects everybody else to a point. But yeah, I think it's really hard how you single one person out. It was awesome, an awesome team performance, and building through the playoffs. If you think about it, I mean, 8 games unbeaten, for goodness sake.
No ceremony on the
a franchise record as well.
I bet you could name, if we had a team list in front of us now, you could go down and 95% of those you can show the positive contribution they made during that game. And even McCoy, who didn't take the field, how he's worked the Rojo and so on throughout the year. You read how good he's been in front of. That guy didn't play one down. He didn't make the field. But you can't underestimate the influence somebody of his experience would have behind the scenes.
Even just on the bench, he would have been talking to them about, I was looking at this run you did here. If you cut that way, cut this way, and I think that's been the whole way through. Is it the mentorship from the players we've brought in that have been there, done it, and seen it, have passed that down. That's just been unbelievable.
But that comes from one man, one playing man, and that comes from Brady and his expectation of people around him.
When they're talking about him sending out, messages to all the players at 11 o'clock at night, telling them what we're gonna do, we're gonna win. It's unbelievable.
Well, there's that. So I'm saying there's that other thing about Brady. They said when they asked him the first thing that he wanted when he signed, he said, "I want a full list of the telephone numbers of all my wide receivers."
Did anyone see Clyde Christensen's interview last night? The quarterbacks coach.
No, or on Pat McAfee.
Yeah, and
I caught a bit of there.
Well, he said that touchdown to AB, Antonio Brown. Brown should have gone to the outside. He ran the route wrongly. He should have cut in and then gone out. But he went out and then cut in. And everyone's saying what a fantastic route he ran. But it was Brady. He said because Brady was so quick, just saw he took the wrong route, but still nailed it straight into him, right on the numbers, touchdown. And that's the sort of player he's changed everything, the mentality, everything. There's that story about at Green Bay when Mickens was crying because he made the Super Bowl and he told him off.
More work to do.
There's one more game.
The job's not done yet.
I was reading an article about Mickens that when he was at the Jags, he was sleeping in his car. And then we signed him and now he's just won a Super Bowl. So he was probably, you can understand why he's crying because he had been sleeping in his car only months before.
Wow.
Awesome.
Just for the edit, boys, a sec, just before I forget, can we all have a picture of us doing this?
That would be a great.
Everyone get your fingers up.
That would be a great thumbnail for the video.
Yeah.
That's the thumbnail. Also,
just one thing about Todd Bowles.
Yeah, go for it, David.
Obviously, he was going to be interviewed at Detroit, wasn't he? And he turned them down. And, the word on the street is that there's already a game plan that he's going to succeed Arians and move on. So, we don't care. We'll just keep what we've got. We're more than happy with that.
If Todd Bowles is going to become a head coach in the future based on what he's done with this defense, I'm all up for that. Fantastic.